Hey, welcome to another update on Archmage Rises. And this time, I have my wife Catherine with me.
Hello.
She's thrilled to be here. Thrilled's not quite the word. Are you nervous?
No.
Are you interested in what we're about to talk about?
No.
I think you should be. But anyway, okay, so this is what we're doing and why we're doing it. So I've been working on this game for a super long time, and I think that I owe it to you, the fans, those that have pre-ordered and those that have held off pre-ordering, and to those that work with me and for me, and to my wife who works with me and not for me. Everybody wants to know, what are you doing? When is this thing going to be done? What's the plan here? And so this is an update for all of you. And I guess there's another audience, which is just other game developers. I'm going to share real stuff, real numbers, real whatever. And hopefully that helps you, inspires you. Maybe you'll share your numbers too. We can learn from each other. That's it. So that's what we're going to do. And this is my opportunity to tell my wife on an annual basis what's going on with the game. Because you're pretty good about not bugging me about it.
Yeah, I don't bug you, but I'm very busy.
That's true. But it's not like every dinner when we sit down, you're like, so, when's the game going to be done?
No, I never ask those questions.
That's right. Do you care?
Not really.
Don't you want it to be over?
Yes, I do want it to be over.
Okay.
I do want the game to be done, but you tell me, and then it's not true. Then you tell me again, it's not true. So if I ask you a question, you're just going to not give me a true answer. So,
well, that's how all the fans feel too.
Yeah.
Okay, so here's the annual report. So actually, I wanted to do one of these last year, in January of 2020. I didn't, and that was because we were right in the middle of working on the dungeons, and I just didn't feel like anybody cared to hear, like, what are your plans overall and whatever. It's just get the stupid dungeon build done, right? That's how I felt. And then we didn't finish the dungeons until, I don't know, March, April or something. And I don't know, it was 4 months removed, and it just seemed like too much time had passed to do a review of 2019. And anyway, so here we are, not intentionally, doing it every other year. And hopefully this is the last one of these.
I think that's called a biannual review. Okay.
Yeah, okay. So,
all right.
Okay, so anyways, this is the annual report of 2021. Like, we're doing this January 2021. I think it's the last day of January. We're still
No, one more day.
Okay, one more day. Anyway, so that's why it's a 2021 report, but it's on 2019 and 2020. And there's another word or another title for this thing, which is, honey, this is why we have no money.
What I love about this picture is the pig's very, very sad face.
That's you.
Very sad face.
Yeah. So this is my way of explaining to you with this audience why we don't have any money. Okay, so here's the agenda. We're going to review the effort of 2019 and 2020. Then we're going to go into the financials. And then we're going to talk a little bit about the road ahead. So not probably as much as you watching this want me to, but as much. I'll get into it. Okay. While I was researching this, I found this. I thought it was great. Homer Simpson. I have 3 kids and no money. Why can't I have no kids and 3 money? And I am balding like Homer Simpson and gaining weight like Homer Simpson. And I have 2 girls and a boy like Homer Simpson. I have a hot wife like Homer Simpson. Your hair's a little down.
Little down. My normal hair.
Yeah, normally it's like that at dinner.
That's right.
But anyways, so I just thought that was funny. Okay, so let's go into the effort. So that's a pretty cool piece of art from Roger. That's nice. Okay, so effort. So just to bring people up to date, we've had people that have just joined us on this crazy journey. So just to kind of give some context, so this is the effort that has gone into the game from 2014 to 2018. Programming and design was 9,532 hours. So it's not that I don't have records from 2014 to 2016. It was just a lot of digging to get to it, but I just averaged what the effort was put in that. So basically it's 5,000 hours for those first 3 years. Then in 2017 I did, well not I, but me and Nick did.
The team.
Yeah, the team did 3375. In 2018, it did 1157. And there's a reason for that, because Nick was gone by February. I think February was last month. March, he started on that other project. And that's when I lost vision in my left eye. And yeah, there's a lot of doctor's appointments. I was in mess for at least 6 weeks or something anyway. So big drop off. So it was just me alone on the project in terms of programming and design. And then these are summaries. I didn't break them up by year, but in art, we've done 1,224 hours. That's pretty much all Roger. Animation is 346, and that is Chris. Sound and music is James. I just kind of guesstimated for it. Not the best records on that. 500. So we're 11,602 hours in as of the beginning of 2019. Okay, so now what's the new stuff? Okay, so for 2019 to 2020, those 2 years, programming design, we did 4,582 hours. So in 2019, we did 1,800 hours, and that's when it was me and then Daniel for a bit, right? Because Daniel came, worked full time over the summer, and then he went back to school part time, and then that was
That's it.
Yeah. And then
That was it here at the house. Anyways.
Yeah, but then Michael joined September.
Yeah.
Right. So Michael joined full time in September. Yeah, because we didn't want to have too many young people in here at the same time, because then they start to party and smoke weed and all kinds of stuff. Right. So just one at a time. Daniel went to school. Michael can come in. Okay. That's kind of what it is in COVID right now. Because Michael finally came back from being trapped in Michigan for 8 months, and then they announced a lockdown where Daniel's not allowed to come here until I guess next week or something.
Yeah,
and we'll see if they extend it again. Anyway, so still just one of them at a time. Okay, art-wise, for both those years, 426 hours. This is where Roger has big frowny face.
Yeah,
because this game is not really paying off for him. He's like tied to the project for 7 years, and he's only doing 200 hours a year.
Right.
Okay. Maybe he's happy about that, because we don't pay him very well. So
maybe he's getting better paid work.
Oh, he's definitely getting more interesting work and better paid work by working with others. So I wonder what he thinks as he's watching this right now. Okay. Because he watches these. Okay. Anyway.
That's why I think you shouldn't comment too much, because your current employees might lose interest in the project.
They might all leave after the update. Okay. Anyway, so animation, we didn't do any animation really across those 2 years, because Chris did everything that we needed. And music and sound, I don't really know. I assume James did some things for 10 hours. So anyway, in the last 2 years, we've put in another 5,000 hours. So what is... Oh yeah, I also want to say, look at the big increase between 2019 and 2020. For those that have been following this, 2019 was like, I need a team. Like, I need help with this thing. I can't do it by myself. I thought I could, maybe naively, but anyway, I need a team. And so I started putting together a team, and you see we have a big increase in the hours. And that doesn't include the hours that we were subcontracting, like we took on the contract work for Soma. This is the Archmage hours. Yeah, so...
But hopefully increase of hours also equates to increase in productivity.
Yes.
So I'm sure we're going to get to that.
Yes, because of Daniel and Michael, I'm up every day for a stand-up meeting at 9:30 in the morning. When I was working by myself, sometimes it was 11.
True.
Okay. So here is the effort by year, and you can see in 2017, that was the biggest year. That's when Nick and I were really going at it. And we had a lot of art being done in animation work. Like, just a lot of things were in that particular time. So anyways, we are at 16,620 hours so far making this thing, which is insane. Never expected that when we started this. How many hours can one person do per year? Roughly 2,000 hours. So we're at over 8 person years working on this crazy Archmage Rises. Now, as I was alluding to in the 2020, where it says, hey, we've done 2781 hours, that's actually 2/3 of a year. So if we hadn't been off for 4 months working on that cooking game contract, right? So it looks like, oh, you only increased it by 900 hours, but that was only 3/4 of a year that we were able to do that.
Right.
So what do I think this year will be? I think that, and I have some reasons for this, but I think this year we will hit around 3,500. it's just really important to me a better year than 2017. So even if I'm beat it by 1 hour, I'm doing better.
All right.
Okay.
It's important to me that the game is finished in 2021, but let's get on.
Don't you be making promises. Well, that's not a promise. You just said what you wanted.
I actually put a demand in front of you.
Yeah, okay. Okay, so let's look at the financials. You like that picture? It's pretty good.
Oh, yeah.
And okay, so just a quick note we have people from all over the world following this game: Southern Hemisphere, Northern Hemisphere, Europe, Canada, America, Asia. So here's just to help translate what I'm talking about into your own currency. Maybe I've done it in Canadian dollars, which here's the US to Euro exchange at that time. So when I'm showing numbers, it's like this is what the exchanges were at that time. Anyway, I'm not going to bore everybody with this, other than when I started this project and I hired like Roger and Nick in US dollars, it didn't really make that much of a difference.
That's right.
But as the either American dollar got better or Canadian dollar got worse, or both, it became really horrible. You can see in 2019, it was just awful paying in American dollars. But the euro actually is really flat. So really what I should have done with Roger was to negotiate it in euros. Oops. I guess I'll know that next time. But anyways, this is where we stand at the beginning of 2021 on the exchange rate. So it's roughly 30%. So, okay. So here are the financials that I'm sharing. These come from my tax information, and so they're all in Canadian dollars because that's the easiest thing for me to show rather than translate it all into US or something. Okay, so this is where we're at as of the last update. So,
I just started to hurt.
Are you okay?
I'm okay.
What? You're disappointed with the revenue?
I'm just glad that shows revenue.
Yeah, it's better than those first 2 years.
I just looked at those red numbers and they were very, very heartfelt to me.
Yeah,
Okay.
that hurts.
That hurts.
Okay. Yeah, so as of the last update, I said, yeah, we're almost 300,000 into this thing. And look, we made $11,000. Yay. And the sales have been going down. We hit our high water mark in 2016.
There's nothing good on this screen.
Okay, moving along. Okay, so let's take a look at 2019. So for art, 4,055, coding, 17,000, advertising. And by the way, when it says coding, that's like coding and design. And I get paid
Oh, zero.
Yeah, so all these expenses are just to others. I get a whole big pile of nothing, but that's okay because I'm in it for the big payoff at the end.
Yes, big payoff at the end. We're all hopeful on that.
You're in it for the big payoff at the end. Okay, advertising, 0, because I don't need more people asking when Archmage is going to be done. So we just like turn that faucet off.
Yeah.
Travel, that was when we could travel in
Yeah.
2019. That was going to conferences and some travel, 2745, and then other stuff that I won't go into, about $9,000. So for a total of $33,000, and we had revenue of $822.
This is just so pathetic.
I'm glad we only talk about this once a year because I don't need that kind of encouragement every day. Off you go to your pathetic job. Oh man. Okay. Get to work, honey. Okay, so that was 2019. Now 2020. Art, we spent almost $9,500. That was a lot of Emily doing the 3D work in the dungeons.
Mm-hmm.
Roger also did some stuff for us. Coding, there you can see the guys showing up, and so obviously the coding numbers went like a lot higher, so almost 60,000 in that. Advertising, I don't know, I'm sure that $40 is really worth it, whatever it was that I spent.
Oh, I know exactly what it was.
Okay. Travel was a big fat 0. We saved
Yeah.
money by not having any conferences.
I think that was the newspaper article advertisement.
Oh yeah, that is what it is. Yeah, I put in a little ad in our little tiny paper to say that we were recruiting.
Yes.
Just to see if there was anybody on this island besides Daniel.
And then someone answered our ad, and then we got him to fix our roof.
Yeah, he ended up re-roofing our grocery store.
Because he had background in roofing.
Flat roof roofing.
Flat roof roofing.
Which is different than like house roof
roofing.
Peak roof roofing. And he's a graphic designer artist that did our roof.
Yeah.
Anyway, and then
did a great job too.
He did, yeah. So other things, about $3,000. So last year cost us $71,327. But the revenue was up. Yeah, we made $200 more on double the expenses.
You added a decimal place.
No, I added a comma.
Oh, sorry, you added a comma. That's
We're the single comma club.
Yeah, the single comma club.
Sales are up 20% year over year. Okay, so here's the total financials. So we add another $100,000 to the cost of the game, and if you're wondering where our money is, that's where we got $400,000 sunk into this thing.
I'm surprised there's no little IOU sticking out of that piggy bank.
Yeah. So, and a total revenue of $13,000. So that's where we're at. That's money that's already been spent. So now let's look at what is it costing us to continue pursuing this. Through teaching and some of our other business ventures and whatever, I have roughly $5,000 a month that comes in. The expenses of running Defiant Studios without paying me is $5,900 a month. So we have a net of minus $900 a month. So if you're wondering why is our bank account always empty?
Yeah, I was wondering that. I'm like, oh, now I understand.
Why are we always in overdraft? Yeah, it's really bad when we get to the end of the overdraft because then we can't buy food. But anyway, it's because we're losing $900 a month. So that's what it's cost. So, we're just at the end of January, so that's basically where January cost. We're at minus $900 for January, and then it continues on. So we're going in debt about $11,000 a year, despite the hustling, I guess, that I'm doing with the teaching and the whatever, like trying to do these things. Okay, so that's our financial situation. Now, I just got a tax refund, as you know, for $5,900. So that actually gets us to zero for 6 months. We don't go underwater. We keep our head above water at zero. We have to live off you, and at least I'm not sucking money away from the account for about 6 months. But also what this says is I can't add any more people. Like, I can't hire anybody. I just got to work with what I got because we're already going below each month. Anyway, okay, so this is running the studio. This is Michael, Daniel 2 part-time, and me. And then we have additional needs on that, which is the art and animation contracting. So for what we're currently working on is build 13, which is the combat build. And with the new creatures that we're adding and the animations we have to add to them, and a bunch of other things, it's somewhere between $20,000 and $25,000 US, because they get charged in US. I don't know if that comes through in the camera, the giant inhale eye roll when I said it was US. It was bad enough in Canadian dollars.
It was bad enough in Canadian dollars.
Yeah. This is a really sad story, but all I do is laugh. Maybe that's all there is left to do with this sad tale.
This is a sad tale.
Yeah, okay, so about 25,000, and Roger's like, I haven't seen any of that. And the answer is, yeah, you haven't done much of the work yet.
It's still coming.
It's still coming, and we will probably finish most or all of the programming, and the art and animation will be kind of churning away in the background. We'll be turning on new creatures as they're done. Anyway, that's just the way that it's gone. And then, okay, so that's build 13, what we're working on. I'll get into when I think that'll be done. And then for build 14, I think there's going to be art costs associated. Well, I know there's going to be art costs, and I've talked with Chris about art costs, and not really Roger, because I kind of know what his art costs are. But anyway, I think it's going to be about another $10,000. And then the build after that, build 15, I don't know, about $10,000. So not only are we losing $11,000 a year, but I also need about another $45,000. So, if anybody has played any of these games, the Mad Games Tycoon, Game Dev Tycoon, Game Dev Story, that's the one I've been playing the last little while. In those games, I make games that are worth hundreds of millions of dollars. I'm amazing at running game studios and making games. It's just real world that I'm having the struggles. I think it's in here. I just can't get it out. And these games let me get it out. Anyway, so if you've played any of these games, you know that when you're running out of money and you got to make payroll or whatever, what do? You go get a contracting gig to get you through the tough times. So that's what you saw happening here at Defiance, because we had to do something. And fortunately, Soma needed some help, and that was great. So in 2020, we actually, our first gig was doing a visual novel game, creating the structure to a visual novel thing. They finished it, but we got it going. And then there was the cooking game, which we talked about, and that one was the whole studio for 4 months. And the net on that is, from the expenses of the people working on it and whatever, we've netted about $35,000 or so. That's how much we kind of made off of it. So when you take off the 25 for build 13 art and the 10 for build 14, which is just a rough estimate, we are okay.
Still close to zero.
Still close to zero, yeah. Totally not the goal, but better than what you just saw. Now it gets a little bit better, which is 2021, Soma liked us. We liked them, and so they have a new contract that we've been talking about, and it's not finalized. People that work there might be watching this right now, so they might be really curious what I'm about to say about it. Anyway, they would like us to continue working on the cooking game with them. We would like to finish the cooking game that we started with them, and so we're both working towards what that would look like. So assuming that we start that, I'll just say late April or May 1st, that cooking game, it's not going to be a full studio, full-time shutdown thing again. We will have one person working on it per month. And we've talked about cycling through like Daniel and Michael so that they can work on Archmage and work on the cooking game, and it's not like one person works on it for 6 months and the other person only works on Archmage, so we can do that. And if we do this, that actually allows us to hire Daniel 2 full-time. There's still contingencies on that too, whatever, but anyways, this is what we intend. So we can take this contract job. It's going to take 700 hours of developer time, but with Daniel 2 coming on full-time, that'll give us 1,300 hours, and so we net 600 more hours in Archmage Rises. It's complicated, a lot of moving parts, but in the end, I think it's good for Soma, it's good for us, and it's good for Daniel 2, and so I think that this will be good. So I think contracting will hopefully be a regular thing for Defiance, that we can have a chance to work on other things, learn experiences. Like, we're making a mobile game, which we never would have made. So we've gained this knowledge of making mobile games today versus what I did 7-8 years ago. And it's valuable experience for the studio and stuff. So it's a nice income cushion for paying for everything, and it builds the experience. And so I don't know if anybody watching this actually needs to outsource some Unity game dev work.
But they can, here.
Yeah, we're open to it. If your game is going to be done in 7 years, then we're a great company to call. Although someone needed something done in 4 months.
Yeah, 3 months, 4 months.
And we did it.
Right.
So I guess we could do all kinds of projects. Anyway, okay. So that brings us you up to speed on where we're at financially. So what does the road ahead look like? I was working on this thing, and I was just flipping over to Steam for a moment, and caught these 2 comments that just came through, I guess 2 days ago now. And I liked them, and it seemed pertinent. So the first one is, hello, thank you for your work. This is from Noko. Hello, thank you for your work. I don't mind waiting for a complete game at release than an unfinished game. I think we can all agree with that. I discovered this gem 2 years ago. I like that word, gem.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. We're a hidden gem.
Yeah.
Yeah. Very hidden at this point. And it was a huge surprise for me. give us some information regularly, and it will be just fine for me. I can wait 2 years more if I'm sure to buy a game with full features. I think Archmage Rises will be amazing. Trust yourselves.
All right, with a thumbs up.
That's a Bethesda Fallout thumbs up.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, remember Fallout 4 I was playing? Anyway. Okay.
No.
Okay, so here's another one. This guy just posted this thread on his own and said, hope that 2021 will be the release year.
So do I, Wild Ghost.
So wishlisted the 17th of September 2016. It's been 5 years. This project is the grandparent of my wish list, but I hope that one day I will be able to enjoy it. All the best. Actually, now that I read it a second time, it almost feels a little insulting.
No, it's not.
He didn't
insulting.
mean it that way.
No. It's just it's been on his wish list for a while. That's why it's the grandparent of his wish list.
Yeah, it's the oldest thing on his wish list.
Yes.
Anyway, I appreciate that, and this video update is for Noco and Wild Ghost and all the rest. This is why we do it. This is why we're still working on it. This is why I haven't given up on this. Because really, I mean, you just looked at the number. I should have given up on this a long time ago. Any sane person wouldn't have started it and would have turned back by now. So we're just left with crazy persistence.
Yep.
Okay, so why is it taking so long? Why? Okay, so the first thing is, because I announced it too early, and I just followed some prevailing wisdom at the time that was given to me by articles I was reading in Gamma Sutra and a bunch of things, is you can never start marketing too soon. Like, you want to get the word out, start building that fan base and whatever, and I was like, yeah, okay. So I had a prototype that, I didn't start promoting it from an idea. I had a prototype that was working, and now I was about to make it serious and professional and start building it in Unity. And so I hired a PR company, and we started getting an announcement, and that was 7 years ago. So clearly that was too soon. Todd Howard, I just watched his interview on IGN Unfiltered. He's the head of Bethesda, which makes amazing games, and he says that he pushes off announcing as long as they will let him. So he won't announce anything. He's a huge company, like 400 or so employees, big games, hundreds of millions of dollars, and he announced a game 5 months before it was released, and usually it's 2 years or more. So he pushes it off as long as he possibly can, and he's found that is 6 months. 6 months is the absolute most that he can push off announcing a title. So next time around,
yeah,
I'm going to do that.
I could see that, though, because as soon as you announce it, then it just drives all this traffic to you to say, well, what is this like? What is this like? What is this like? Then you spend all your time answering those questions as opposed to just finishing the game.
Yeah, that's what I did the first 2 years. I just answered everybody's questions.
Yeah, there you go.
I was like, oh, that's a good question. I should answer that. But he also said that who watches a trailer about a game announcement? Who watches the trailer and then wants to wait? No one. No one wants to see a trailer and then wait.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm so glad I saw that. Now I get to wait, right?
Yeah.
Like, nobody wants that. So anyway, I won't make that mistake again. But here we are. It is what it is. Some of you have had it on your wish list for 5 years. I don't want you to change that. But I would not announce so early. Okay, so the second thing is the game is going to be, already is, but going to be way better than expected. Way better than I expected. Way better than you should have expected. So I have just thrown up 3 examples. There's so many that I could put here, but there's 3 things that I can just point at very quickly and say the game is way better than what I promised in 2014. The first thing was I had a static map. I paid a guy, I think almost $1,000, to make me this beautiful map, and all I was going to do was just plunk down cities in random locations on this pre-drawn map. It was always the same map, but the cities were going to be different in terms of population or whatever. And I completely changed that. It's a random world that's generated. It can be as big or as small as you want. We haven't given you any controls over that yet, but that's coming, where you'll be able to define the kind of world you want to generate. It's 100 times more creative, expressive, unique, exciting than it would have been with what I was doing with the static world. The next one is, initially I only planned to have about 20-25 spells. There's currently 57 spells in the game and counting. And it's not just like, oh, we have to put the work into making these spells, but we have to make every spell matter in combat and in the world. So if you're adventuring around and talking with people, that you can use the light spell there for something of value. And then when you're in combat, you can use the light spell in combat for something of value. It's a lot of work in order to make that happen. But in the end, you get a better game.
You should have a handsome smell that makes somebody just incredibly handsome, and they could win battles just on their handsomeness.
Like, feature creep.
I can't kill you. You're just too good looking.
That's a good idea. Okay. And the next one is, initially when I was thinking about the game, prototyping the game, I kind of had 2, 3, maybe 4 ways in which you could win the game. And when I say win the game, it's an open world game that you can do whatever you want, sort of like Minecraft, Dwarf Fortress. Like, you sort of define your own win condition. But I'm the kind of player that needs something to do. I need something to work towards, some kind of win to make me feel good like I did it. So if you play Skyrim or Fallout, they have these main quest lines, and I got all the way to the end of one of the main quest lines, and then I'm like, I'm good. I don't need to play for another couple hundred more hours. Other people do, but I'm like, okay, I'm good. I'm going to move on to another game. And so Archmage Rises, given the dynamic nature of it, has currently, this is coming in build 14, 23 different ways that you can win the game. We were talking about some of those at dinner, right? About like the wealth win and finding out people's secrets and
Political
stuff.
win.
Political wins. Yeah. So I'm not going to go into the details of that, but that's a huge breadth to the game of things you can do. You will not play any other game like Archmage Rises that has so many win conditions and ways of achievement within this game. So it's on a whole nother level. So I could talk forever about how it's better than what I initially set out to make. The proof of the pudding is in the eating, so we'll see when we're actually done if it really is that amazing. But these are reasons that it's taking so long in order to make it, because you're getting a better game. You're basically getting Archmage 2 instead of Archmage 1. That's basically what it is. Okay, thirdly is distractions. I've had some distractions along the way. One of them was my health, which I appreciate the support of people during 2018 when I couldn't see it on my left eye. That ate up a whole bunch of time, mental health and physical health, that one. And then just bootstrapping. I took on the teaching gig and I lost all my time, especially that first year when I was putting together the semester 1 and semester 2. When I wasn't teaching, I was working on the curriculum. And so I thought a 12-hour-a-week job was like, oh, that's not a big deal. I can work on Archmage for another 25 hours. No, the other 25 hours of the week I was working on the school stuff. Fortunately, Michael was busy working on Archmage. That was the whole reason I took the teaching job, was so Michael could be here full-time. And anyway, so the bootstrapping, it does slow things down. When we just last year, we just took 4 months off from the project. And that doesn't help the fans. Like, doesn't help get the game done, but hopefully...
But it helps pay for the game to get done.
Exactly. That's what I mean. Like hopefully you see that does help get the game done, just not in a normal linear way. Okay, so there's been some distractions. There will continue to be distractions. I'm still going to keep teaching. I guess I'll keep teaching as long as I have the course, right?
Yeah.
You like the money. Okay. And the last point is, it's just really hard to make this game. So in the cooking game, we were able to kill it. We were able to move really fast, get a ton of features done. I don't know if you remember the day when I said we closed 40 cards today.
Yeah.
Like, it was crazy. Now, a lot of the cards were small bugs and whatever. But anyway, we closed 40 cards in one day. And many days we were doing 5, 6, 7 cards across the 3 of us. And then January 4th, we started working on Archmage. 1 card every 2 days. And so my first stand-up meeting of the second week, so we had the first week and it was like, rah, rah, we're gonna go, we're gonna be so fast, it's so good. And then it was the next Monday and my question was, why is this going so slow? We were so quick at the cooking game. And I gave an update saying, hey, we've learned how to work fast and this will be great. So we did learn how to work fast on the cooking game, but it didn't really translate to Archmage Rises, because Archmage Rises is just really, really hard to make versus the cooking game or a visual novel game or something else. For those that know these games, Archmage Rises is more advanced than Dwarf Fortress or Caves of Kud.
I think that's quid, but
Quid, whatever.
I would like an I to be in that word.
Well, that's the spelling. Anyway, so our world gen may not be as advanced as theirs is, though we're working towards that. But the game simulator, what's happening in the game, the world, is way beyond those games. So we are making something far beyond what has already been seen there, and we have a more advanced world simulation than any other released game. I only have access to released games, so I don't know what's in the works over at Ubi or Bethesda, but everything thus far, we're killing it. I've read the books by Tarn and Tanya X Short, and we're way ahead in terms of our technology and what we've been able to put together. So it's a hard game to make, but the team's dedicated to doing this. I can't back out. So I'm dedicated too. They're more dedicated than I am. Anyway, we're all dedicated to seeing this thing through, and it takes a long time in order to make it and to make it right. Nobody wants a broken game that doesn't play, doesn't work. Which brings up No Man's Sky. That's not why I meant to bring it up. But No Man's Sky is a revolutionary game, open world simulator, and it was made by a small team, just thinking differently, and that's what we're doing now. It was just me, then it was just me and Nick, and now it's me, Michael, Daniel too. Like, there's 4 of us, still a very small team, making something that's truly innovative and revolutionary. So it's just going to take a while. There's no way I can throw 8 people at this thing, as you just saw. Okay. So, what is going on with the build? So our build numbers are major feature builds. That's just sort of how that happened. Everybody was waiting for build 11 forever. And build 12, the dungeon build, finally got released, I don't know, was it April of last year. Build 12 took forever. It took like 17 months or something to do build 12. That was crazy. But we did. We finally finished it, got it out there. Sure, I wish it was better in some ways, but it's very good and functional. So then we started working on combat build in like May and June, kind of in that time frame. And so that's what we're working on right now is the build 13, the combat build. And so what's next? How many more builds are there to go? Well, if you can do spatial reasoning, you can kind of figure out how many more little thingies there are.
Looks like 5, but let's figure it out.
Yeah, let's figure it out. So the next one is what I call World. It could have maybe a better title than that, but anyways, I call it Build 14 is the World. And that is what I'm currently working on right now, because I need to design what does the world do. So I just mentioned that we have 23 win conditions to the game. And I'm sure people are going to say, that's excessive. Just give me 10. Finish the game. Or all right. Some of them are really, really easy to implement. And like some of them are like 2 days to implement, and some of them are 20 days to implement. So it's not, the count part doesn't matter. It's how many hard ones are there and how many easy ones. And anyway, I think it'll be okay. So right now, we have 23 win conditions. So one of the win conditions is you could become head of the conclave. Well, it can't just be like, do nothing, and then bam, you suddenly become head of the conclave. Like, what does that look like? How do you move up through the ranks? When you have a new position in the conclave, what does that enable you to do gameplay-wise? What do you have to do? What can you do things to make you lose your position within the conclave? How do you politically warm people up to you so they vote for you to become head of the conclave? What if you piss people off? And can you undo that? Can you ask for forgiveness? There's like all these things that we need to figure out for how the world should work for when you're playing in it. And so we've put off a lot of those design decisions until now, and now I'm working through all of that. And I'll explain a little more about what I mean by that. So anyways, Build 14 is the world and winning the game, the end game content, which actually makes all the gameplay really valuable. So right now, if you were to earn 10,000 gold, what are you going to spend it on? There's nothing to spend it on in the game. But with the world one, now you have something to save up for, and you can spend the money on valuable things in the game. Okay, the next build after that is Build 15. I don't really know what to call it. I call it the simulator. I'm not going to go into any details about that, but I think we just need to really work on the simulator and tune it and such. And then I think the next build is the alpha. And alpha is, it's a good sign.
Yeah.
Alpha, it means feature complete. So we are at Combat Build 13. We will probably be done, I think it's the coming up slide, but we're close to being done on the Combat one. And then we're going to start into Build 14. I don't know how long Build 14 will be. It will be less than 17 months, I am sure of that. And then we have for sure another build to do after that. And then I think, I don't know if there's another one between 15 and Alpha. So maybe there is. I don't know, because I'm just telling you what the thought process is right now. So I haven't finished doing all the analysis and design work that I need to do in order to be certain this is the roadmap. If this isn't the roadmap, there's one more little arrow thing, and then we're at Alpha, okay? So that hopefully answers some of the questions. When will it be done? In the sense of, I can at least see we're 3 steps away, 4 at the most, from when we're going to be done. That's the first time I've ever really talked about that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Actually, I talked about it 2 years ago.
Okay.
But anyway. Okay. So the big question is, when will it be done? I just want to give me a date. I want a date. Okay. I can't answer that right now, and I'm working towards that. And I thought I would have an answer. That's why this is the end of January, because I thought I'd have an answer by now, at least on paper. Like, I put together some big Gantt chart, and it's like, hey, right now the Gantt chart is saying we'll be done X. That hasn't happened. So why is that? So the chicken and egg problem of project management. Now, what's really funny about this, I actually teach a course on game development process and management. And so you'd think I'd be able to wrestle my own product, my own game into how long is it going to take? But there's 2 approaches to scheduling out your game, feature-based and time-based. So what is feature-based? Feature-based is I'm making a cooking game. It has to have a frying pan, it has to have a chopping block, it has to have an oven, it has to have a mixing bowl, it has to have a score screen, and then everything after that is optional. So this is the core. We have to build these features. So I would say Archmage Rises, definitely to date, has been feature-based project planning, which is, okay, well, these are all the features. I'm not cutting any of them because they are critical to the experience. I use the analogy of a car. How many tires does a car need? How many steering wheels does it need? Like, there's like certain basics that you have to have, and Archmage is just one of those things. You got to have 4 wheels and an engine and a muffler and a steering wheel. Now, do you need a radio? No. Do you need windshield wipers? Maybe.
Maybe. Depends on if it's raining.
Depends on the climate you're in.
Yeah.
Like, so one of those is like, I think that's a judgment call I have to make. No, that's critical. Whereas I'm sure other people, that's not critical. Don't hold up the release for that, right? There's going to be that, but I feel certain things like wiper blades are critical. So that is feature based, and that's what we've been doing. I've had the same feature set for 7 years that I've been working towards. So the other approach is what happened on the cooking game was, okay, guys. We got 4 months. We got September, October, November, and a little bit of December. We were basically trying to be done December 1st. So you got 3 months. What can you build in 3 months, right? So that's when we wanted to get the oven in. We couldn't. There was no time for it. We wanted to get a whole bunch of features in. We wanted to get more zones into that game. We could only get 1 zone into the game. We were supposed to be 10 zones, but we only got 1 in because we had to ship on a certain day. So I was like, okay, let's do a time-based approach to Archmage Rises. So let's say we have to be alpha feature complete 2021 by someday in 2021, whether it's September or December 15th or whatever, but someday. So let's back up and then break up the year into like 3-month pieces. And how many features can I get into each one of those pieces, right? So I know where to put the features and divvy them up and stuff. So how big are they? And that's the chicken and egg problem. Without doing the design work on the feature, like one of the 23 win conditions, so you can become head of the conclave. So it's easy to put a bullet point, become head of the conclave. What does that mean to me versus Michael versus Daniel versus a fan versus, like, we have to define it. And when we define it, then we go, oh, okay, that's going to take 12 days, 4 days, 37 days. And once we've done the design work and estimated it, and we say, that's going to take 37 days, that's when I can cut it. So that's the problem, is I have to finish designing the whole game, that feature set that I've had hanging out there all these years. I have to finish designing all those, and then I can cut them all. And it sucks to spend time on it, but it's better than programming them and then cutting it. And so, which is what happens at other studios, bigger studios. They're like working away, and then they look at the release date and they're like, there's no way this feature is going to be ready for that release date. So they just cut all that work they did, and they're like, we could have done something else with that time, right? So that is what I'm working on right now, to finish the design work. So Michael and Daniel are busy programming all the combat features, because all that design work has been done. I mean, not completely done. They ask questions all the time because there's the devil's in the details. But anyway, it's all been thought out, and they can just kind of churn away and work on it. And so I'm trying to get ahead of that on build 14 and 15, so I can figure out what I can fit into build 14 and 15, all hoping that alpha is this year, but I don't know. So I think that build 13 combat will be out to you. Maybe it's not final, but definitely a release out to the fans in early March. So we had an internal discussion, a goal of trying to finish combat by the end of this month. That was the first day of the month when I said that. Then when I was like, holy cow, we're doing like one card every 3 days, I was like, oh, that's not going to happen. So then we've picked up speed. Some of the things we were doing the first week, we're just getting into it, but some of them were harder. Anyway, so I think we are going to be wrapping up combat the end of next month, the end of February, and that's why I am hedging this a bit by saying like early March we're going to get something out to everybody. So I'm trying to be time-based on that. So basically, if there's creatures that we can't get in by the end of February, if there's spells we can't get in by the end of February, I'm cutting them. They're not Wiper Blades anymore.
Right.
They're radios. So whether we get, I forget how many new creatures I was putting in, 25 new creatures. If we only get 17 new creatures, okay, whatever. There's going to be a bit of a content hole, maybe mid-game or something because of that. But anyway, we need to move on to other things. So that is what we're planning for combat. So we think that'll be done early March. And the next step is to finish the design. And so I am going through and writing up in some detail the features. And this is just a snapshot. It doesn't really matter what it says. But these are the examples of the character goals. And so the goals that the character has and can fulfill drives the functionality of the game, and just streamlining that the things you could do in Archmage are towards a victory, as opposed to lots of superfluous things that don't really matter. So figuring out the end of the game is really helping us figure out the middle of the game. Okay? So that's all I have to say about Archmage Update.
Thank you.
Was that helpful?
Yeah, I was kind of bored in the last section of it. I will never play this game. I have no desire to play this game. I actually held off 5 yawns just for the sake of your audience. Sorry, audience.
Okay, you're not in charge of marketing. I'll continue to manage the fans and do the marketing of the game, and you do what you do.
Yeah.
But now, do you know where the money is?
Well, how you went into all these details, I'm like, oh, I think the people who are interested in playing this game would be very interested in what he's saying right now. And I thought that okay. I am not interested in what you're saying, but I thought people would be interested.
If you're interested in what I'm saying, please just write "I am interested" in the YouTube comments so I can show her the list. There, these people were interested. Yeah. Okay, thank you. I appreciate that.
Bye.
Okay.
Is it time to say goodbye?
Okay. Yes.
Bye.
You're free. Bye.